Good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. The voice is clear.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay. So in the last class, we discussed about the economy, basically the economy of Indus Valley civilization. How, as a part of economy, what are the important things we discussed in the last class, like the agricultural and non-agricultural aspects. Okay, so as a part of agricultural aspect, we discussed how the people of Indus Valley grow various crops, and what are the suitable conditions for growing of that crops are like that. Okay, so apart from that, we had a conversation over the non-agricultural concepts also. Okay, so as a part of Indus Valley economy, we discuss things like the external trade links with certain Mesopotamian other civilizations, and as a part of internal trade, they had relation with each and every city or town within the Indus Valley civilization through the waterway or through by the land route like that. Okay, so as a part of the internal trade, they exchange the goods with the required material from the other source. Okay, so as a part of the economy of Indus Valley civilization, the people who had a metallurgical skills, and they followed such an articles like the utensils or tools, yeah, agricultural tools are like that, which made with certain metals. Okay, so apart from the copper and bronze, they used certain metals to prepare, particularly to made, particularly the utensils, and also they also made certain tools, particularly used in their daily life, and they also made certain ornaments with various valuable metals like gold and silver, and they also made certain things like terracotta figurines, and also other seals and ceilings with the help of lapis lazuli and steatite, all those things. Okay, so these metals which they get from various parts of the Indus Valley civilization, and external part of the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so like lapis lazuli and steatite, they are get from the woman, and such Gulf regions, and like copper, where they got the copper from the K3 mines of Rajasthan, or like that. Okay, such things we discussed in the last class. Okay, so as a part of the economy of Indus Valley, we discussed certain things regarding the weights and measures about what weights they follow. Okay, so all these things we covered in the last class. Okay, so today we complete the remaining concepts like the political authority, basically political authority, and declining of overall the Indus Valley civilization. We will discuss in the today's class. Okay, so before going to that, I have to share my screen, and then I'll continue my lecture. Okay, so first of all, I will share my screen. Okay, so I will repeat the things once before going to the remaining concepts of the Indus Valley civilization. And once I will read out these, and then we'll move to the remaining concepts like political authority and decline of Indus Valley. Okay, so as a part of the culture of Indus Valley, we had certain things regarding the religion. Okay, so religion played an important role, and without the religion, you cannot see the particular civilization. Okay, so aspects of particular civilization. Okay, so every civilization as a part and parcel, you see the religion played certain significant role. Okay, so every belief, every ritual, every tradition, any mythology which related to particular civilization definitely comes under the culture of a certain civilization. Okay, so here we'll see the religion. What are the particular concepts which comes under the religion? First of all, okay. So some Indus Valley seals show swastikas which are found in other religions worldwide, especially in the Indian religions such as the Hinduism and Buddhism and Jainism. It's a one of the symbol we can have from the Indus Valley civilization is the swastika, and the earliest evidence from the elements of Hinduism are alleged to have been present before and during the early Harappan period. One is the Shivalinga have been found in the Harappan remains also. Okay, so and uh, apart from these, there are other things like the script basically. Okay, so we also seen in the yesterday's screen like the signboard. Okay, so the signboard having certain signs on a board we get at Raki Garia like that. Okay, so you see certain symbols on the signboard, but we are unable to decipher those signboards. Okay, so that what the things which written on the signboard is not yet deciphered or not yet received. Okay, so that is the main problem with the Indus Valley civilization. There are certain things they followed as a part of the script, but we are not yet read that script, so that what the things happened exactly in the Indus Valley is somewhat in dilemma. Okay, so when you see the writing script system, between 400 and as many as 600 distinct Indus symbols have been found on seals, small tablets ceramic pots, and more than a dozen other materials, including a signboard that apparently once hung over the gate of inner citadel of the Indus city of the Dholavira. Okay, so and when you see the trade and transport, in the last class we discussed about trade and transport as a part of economy, and I will repeat these things again. And the Indus civilization's economy appeared to have depended significantly on trade, which was facilitated by major advances in the transport technology. And the Indus Valley civilization may have been the first civilization to use wheel transport. And as a part of wheel transport, we had certain sources like terracotta figurines of bullock carts are like that. Okay, so based on that source, you can say that the wheel transport which they followed, and the grains from the fields to the grains from fields to granaries they brought through this wheel transport only. Okay, so you can easily imagine, and they have been used boat and sea going craft for transportation. Okay, we have one source at the Lothal. One is a natural dockyard you find, and based on this natural dockyard, you can imagine that the people can follow the seaborne trade with the other parts of the world. Okay, so many Mesopotamian sites also provided the basic information regarding certain important trade relations with the Indus Valley, and they mentioned a name called the Meluha. Okay, so Meluha and Dilman, the two important names, and Magan, three important names we will get from the Mesopotamian written sources. Okay, literary sources, so that you can identify there was a scope of maintaining this trade relation with Mesopotamia and Indus Valley is a common phenomenon. Okay, so and during the early Harappan period, similarities in pottery, seals, figurines, ornaments, etc., document intensive caravan trade with Central Asia and Iranian plateau. Also, we discussed. Okay, so when you see the arts and crafts, various sculptures, seals, pottery, gold jewelry, and anatomically detailed figurines in terracotta, bronze, and steatite have been found at excavation sites at various Harappan sites. A number of gold, terracotta, and stone figurines of the girls in dancing poses, and these terracotta figurines included cow, bear, monkeys, and dogs. Okay, so you can see such things on various terracotta figurines which executed from the various sites of Indus Valley. And when you see the arts and crafts, many crafts such as a shell working, ceramic, and agate and glazed steatite bead making were used in the making of necklaces, bangles, and other ornaments from all phases of Harappan sites. So, in the last class, we discussed about bead making units or bead manufacturing units, particularly at Chanhudaro and Lothal, where we discussed. Okay, so number of bead making shops and purchasing, selling shops also we'll see in the Lothal, particularly where one street is confined to these manufacturing, bead manufacturing units. Okay, so some makeup and toiletry items that were found in Harappan context still have similar counterparts in the modern India. Okay, so many items, makeup items like a lipstick bottle or likewise, we got these remains from various sites like Mohenjo-daro or such sites give you a lot of things regarding the makeup which followed by the Indus Valley people. And apart from this, when you see the food production was largely indigenous to the Indus Valley, and it is known that people of Mehergar used domesticated wheat and barley, and the major cultivated cereal crops was NAC 6-row barley, a crop derived from 2-row barley, like that. Okay, so we have many sources that the better quality of barley which cultivated as a part of cereal from the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so apart from barley, they also grown wheat, and also another food crop is nothing but paddy. Okay, so regarding this, we have certain evidences, and we got the rice husk in the furrows in at Rangapur, Banawali, in such places. Okay, so such cereals, they Indus Valley people were grown, and due to that, we can imagine that no crisis has taken place in the form of food grains. Okay, so and even they followed uh, even they followed that these Indus Valley people, they known about storing of food grains in the form of granaries. Okay, so the structure of granaries you get from various places. At Mohenjo-daro, you had one great granary, and a series of granary you have at Harappa, and both these granaries give you a lot of things, like these people were well aware with storing of food grains whenever the crisis has taken place. Okay, so for the future, these Indus Valley people were stored the food at a safest place, and they can use these food grains very easily whenever the food crisis has taken place. Okay, so and apart from that, we already discussed many things also regarding these economy, and also about following of these food grains are like that. Okay, so and not only food grains, they also followed certain non food crops like cotton. Okay, so these were the people who Indus Valley people who followed the cotton growing, and certain cloths which were made with cotton, and one cotton woven cloth also we got as a source from the Mohenjo-daro. Okay, so that we can say that, strongly say that the people of Egyptian people, the people of Indus Valley, they were grown the crop cotton or like that. Okay, so when you see certain achievements, the cities of the Indus Valley civilization were well organized and solidly built out the brick and stone. Okay, so the drainage system, wells, water storage systems were the most sophisticated in the ancient world. Okay, so many times we discussed about the careful structure of the planned cities, and also drainage system, grid system in the last classes. And when you see the science and technology which they follow, the people of the Indus civilization achieved great accuracy in measuring length, mass, and time in the yesterday's class. As a part of measurements and weights, we discussed these things. And they were among the first to develop a system of uniform weights and measures. And Harappans evolved some new techniques in the metallurgy and produced copper, bronze, lead, and tin also. And the engineering skill of Harappans were remarkable, especially in the building docks. Okay, so there is number of dwellings we see a large structures like Great Bath, one of the great contribution of the Indus Valley, and granaries also great contribution, and one pillared hall supposed to be a assembly hall from the Harappa, also another important building, and one college building also we find within the Mohenjo-daro, also another important great building, and a natural dockyard from the Lothal, also another great monument. Okay, so all these are certain buildings which constructed followed by these constructions followed by the Indus Valley people. Okay, not only this, they also had certain idea over the well planned structures like certain dwellings, and building of maintaining of certain cities and towns. Okay, so where all the cities of the Indus Valley are the towns having certain uniform structure, where we find two town system. Okay, so one upper town which is better to be a a acropolis, or having a walled protective wall, and which is constructing at a somewhat higher level, and another one is the lower town which is having which with no protective wall, and the buildings are the dwellings, the houses in the lower house having one or two rooms are like that. When you see in the houses in the upper town, you'll see the houses with nearly 4 to 5 rooms are like that. Okay, so such important the things they follow. Okay, so as a part of structured town planning. Okay, so and apart from that, when you see the writing skill, the people of Indus Valley civilization also developed a writing system which was used for several hundred years, and you find these writings on various signboards and seals and various things also on walls at one or two places you see. And as a part of government, I will give you about this the political structure, what particularly the political structure followed in the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so when you see the effects on human civilization, actually each and every achievement make an important effect on the subcontinental culture. The Indus Valley civilization may have been the first civilization to use wheeled transport, and these advances may have included bullock carts that are identical to those seen throughout the South Asian territory today, as well as boats also. And their well-organized urbanization system make an effects on next civilizations, and some jobs which were found in civilization are still practiced in the subcontinent today. Okay, so when you see the decline, again, I will share this screen again. Before going to decline of Indus Valley civilization, I have to give you certain things regarding the political authority first of all, and then I'll move to decline of how this Indus Valley civilization has declined. Okay, so before going to that, I have to share my screen, and then okay, so when you see the ancient authority, right? So when you see the ancient authority, there are indications of complex decisions being taken and implemented in the Harappan society. And when I see certain Harappan artifacts, which as evident in the pottery, seals, weights, and bricks, notably bricks, though obviously not produced in any single center, were of a uniform ratio throughout the region. From Jammu to Gujarat, we have also seen that settlements were strategically set up in specific locations for various regions. And besides, labor was mobilized for making bricks and for the construction of massive walls and platforms. Okay, so when you see certain palaces, structure of palaces, and you'll see one figurine where we got in the Indus Valley sites is nothing but the priest king. Okay, so priestly king is a concept we see in the Mesopotamian civilization, and the Mesopotamia and Indus Valley both having such a relation in between, so that many historians assumed that the same political authority may be followed in the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so according to the D.D. Koshambi, he strongly supported that the priestly class may be acted as a rulers in the Indus Valley civilization. Likewise, many historians supported the theory. Okay, so if we look for a center of power or for depiction of people in power, archaeological records provide no immediate answers here. A large building found at Mohenjo-daro was labeled as a place by archaeologists, but no spectacular finds were associated with it. A stone statue was labeled and continues to be known as the priest king, and this is because archaeologists were familiar with Mesopotamian history and its priest kings and have found parallels in this region. Okay, so but the ritual practice of the Harappan civilization are not well understood yet, nor are there any means of knowing whether those who performed them also held political power. Some archaeologists are of the opinion that Harappan society had no rules and that everybody enjoyed equal status. Others feel there was no single ruler, but several. That Mohenjo-daro had a separate ruler, Harappa another, and so forth. So, at others argue that there was a single state given in the similarity in the artifacts and the evidence for the planned settlements, the standardized ratio of brick size and establishment of settlements near sources of these raw material. Okay, so and as of now, the last theory seems the most plausible, as it is unlikely that entire communities could have collectively made the implemented such complex decisions. Okay, so when you see other theories regarding the political authority, like R.S. Sharma and many other historians supported that the merchant class may be the rulers of Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so in many times R.S. Sharma mentioned about the merchant class may be the rulers of Indus Valley civilization, and likewise such important and some of the people like Garden Child, who supported the theory of polity, the authority is certainly based on the aristocratic form. Okay, so according to his assumption, the aristocratic form of political authority may be happened that might be happened at Indus Valley civilization like that. Such such many theories we can see as a part of political authority which followed at the Indus Valley civilization are like that. Okay, so these are the things regarding the political authority of Indus Valley civilization, and finally we have a conclusion of Indus Valley civilization, because we discussed many things regarding Indus Valley civilization. Each and every point we already highlighted in the Indus Valley civilization in nearly 6 to 7 classes. Okay, so I have to conclude finally the Indus Valley civilization with the certain things, how various theories regarding various theories, how the Indus Valley civilization finally collapsed. Okay, so with this, I have to conclude this Indus Valley civilization by this class today. And the when you see the end of the civilization, there is evidence that by 1800 BC, most of the mature Harappan sites in regions such as the Cholistan had been abandoned, and simultaneously there was an expansion of population into new settlements in Gujarat, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh are like that. So, in the few Harappan sites that continue to be occupied after 1900 BC, there appears to have been a transformation of material culture and marked by the disappearance of the distinctive artifacts of the civilization like weights, seals, special beads, writing, long distance trade, and craft specialization also disappeared. So, in general, far fewer materials were used to make far fewer things, and house construction techniques deteriorated, and large public structures were no longer produced. Overall, artifacts and settlements indicate a rural way of life in what are called late Harappan or successor cultures. And what brought about these changes? Several explanations have been put forward, and these range from the climatic change and deforestation, excessive floods, the shifting and or drying up of rivers, to overuse of the landscape, and some of these causes may hold for certain settlements, but they do not explain the collapse of entire civilization. And it appears that a strong unifying element, perhaps the Harappan state, came to an end. This is evidenced by a disappearance of seals, the script, distinctive beads, and pottery. The shift from a standardized weight system to the use of local weights, and the decline and abandonment of cities, and the subcontinent would have to wait for over a millennium for new cities to develop in the completely different regions. Okay, so this is and the one more theory have to support that, where the Aryan invasion is one of the cause for decline of Indus Valley civilization, and the Max Muller was important person or a historian who supported this invasion, Aryan invasion, who destroyed basically the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so and I will give you some more things. What are the various reasons for decline of the Indus Valley civilization? There are many theories which supported certain things, particularly for the decline of Indus Valley. Okay, so such causes like natural calamities, and the changing in the tectonic plates in the underground system, and also RN innovation is another cause. Okay, so and salinity is another cause. Such 4 to 5 reasons we can say for the decline of Indus Valley civilization, and I will give you these things and end of my class today. Okay, so when you see the decline of Indus Valley civilization, where basically we have certain known facts also, and we also see certain unknown facts under the decline of Indus Valley civilization also. Okay, so the Indus Valley civilization was declined at the late approximately 900 and 1900 and BCR like that. So it's taken in between 1900 BC to 1500 BC, but we cannot say the exactly date or time or century. Okay, so because there is no clear cut evidences uh, to support exactly the things that happened. Okay, so there are various theory for describing of the destruction of this Indus Valley civilization is particularly the Aryan invasion theory. Okay, so many scholars like the Max Muller and Mortimer Wheeler, Surgeon Marshall, who strongly supported the Aryan invasion theory is the key factor for finally Indus Valley civilization has declined. Okay, destroyed. So we can also support this the theory uh, because the Indus Valley people who are peace-loving people, they cannot defend their society with such delicate metals what they used or what they know. Okay, so and when you see certain animals, what they are domesticated, so we cannot see use of this ours at that time. Okay, so these two important factors, you can say by following these two important factors, you can say the Aryans may be attacked by certain other people who came from the other parts of the world. Okay, so this is many historians are supporting the same theory. Okay, so many scholars gave a theories that an invasion of the Aryans into the subcontinent was the cause of this dispersal. But there is currently no historical or archaeological record which shows that the Aryan people ever invaded the region. Okay, so when you see particularly, but you cannot have any particular source to support this invasion, even though we can support with certain things also. Okay, so after that, there are many other theories like the evidence of natural disaster. The most common health theory used to explain the decline of the Harappan culture is that climatic changes lead to a long-term drought. So this environmental disaster, coupled with the repeated floods that devastated the arable land, okay, which is also another theory we can also support. Okay, so another one is the possibility of an ancient tsunami. Okay, so some geophysicists have begun to theorize that such a disaster could have been responsible for the end of the Harappan civilization. And this theory is based upon the premise that massive wave could have reached inland, traveling up the Indus and Saraswati rivers simultaneously. And another one is the Saraswati river runs dry. The geological record does show that the Saraswati river, one of the main arteries of the trade for the Harappans, dried up completely. Sometime during the early 20th century BCR, like that. Okay, so such things we can, based on such things, we can say that the Indus Valley civilization declined due to due to many number of causes. Okay, so not with any one or two suitable causes. Okay, so apart from that, there are certain things we can. There are other factors we can say that there are certain changes has taken place in the tectonic plates in the underground, which is also another cause. Okay, so you can say that you can support this that in the place of present present Himalayan region, there was a one lake you find. Okay, so in the place of the lake, due to certain tectonic changes, the Himalayan, a fold mountain has taken place in the place of a lake or like that. Okay, so such changes may be taken place, right? So, and apart from that, the salinity also another one, and continuous floods from the Indus Valley and Indus River and its tributaries are also another cause which the Indus Valley civilization has declined. Okay, you can support this theory. Flood. You can have certain layer in the various Indus Valley sites. Whenever they excavated deeply, they identified, the historians and archaeologists identified 7 layers they find. Okay, so 7 layers in the sense 7 times the Indus floods, severe floods have taken place. Okay, so during this time, the Indus Valley civilization may be uh, decline due to the several frequent floods of these rivers. Maybe the people from this area in this valley, they can migrate to other places are like that. Okay, so this we can also support due to natural calamities. Also, one of the cause for the decline of Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so dear students, this is end of my class today regarding the Indus Valley civilization. And among the Indus Valley civilization, we covered each and every part in that civilization. And you have any things are what the things we left, you can identify, and you can ask me so that I will continue those things in the next class. Okay, so otherwise we'll move to another civilization. Ancient Chinese are like that in the from the next class. Okay, so students, are you hearing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, regarding Indus Valley, you have any doubts or queries, or any things we left over within the Indus Valley? You can identify, and you can say, you can tell. ఓకే. సో, ఇండస్ వ్యాలీకి సంబంధించి ప్రతి ఒక్క కాన్సెప్ట్ కంప్లీట్ కవర్ చేశామని అనుకుంటున్నాను. సో, ఒకవేళ ఏమన్నా మనం వదిలేసినట్లయితే వాటిని మీరు ఐడెంటిఫై చెప్తే వాటికి సంబంధించినటువంటి అంశాలు నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్‌లో మనం ఒకసారి చెప్పుకుందాం. ఓకే. లేదంటే మనం వేరే సివిలైజేషన్‌కి సంబంధించి, అంటే నెక్స్ట్ ఏదైతే యాన్షియంట్ చైనీస్ సివిలైజేషన్ మనం ఒకసారి చూద్దాం అనుకున్నాం కాబట్టి, సో, యాన్షియంట్ చైనీస్ సివిలైజేషన్ చెప్పుకుందాం. ఓకే. ఇందులో మీరేమైనా ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తే దానికి సంబంధించినటువంటి అంశాలు నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్‌లో చూద్దాం.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, students, I am ending my class now. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.